On a sadder note, I want to recognize the services of Jeff King from FHWA. Jeff has accepted a promotion and will be working in the federal office in Arizona, meaning he will no longer be representing FHWA on the safety committee with us. Jeff has been a great partner, a great resource, great communicator for, I think, all of us, the committee, but also local agencies as well. And the Meg region. So we'll miss his guidance and wish him the best in the future. So if you come across Jeff, feel free to show your appreciation for Jeff. And hopefully we'll see him around in the future. All right, just some basic housekeeping again before we get going with the meeting. Everybody in the room here at the conference room has microphones, so please mind your microphones with turning them on when you speak so everybody virtually could hear you. Everybody virtually, please mind your mute button, meaning turn off your mute when you talk, and then please turn your mute button back on when you do not talk, just so we don't avoid that background interference and make sure we have a positive meeting here and an efficient meeting for everybody here today. Also, everybody that's on the phone, just a reminder to use *6 to mute, unmute, and *9 to raise their hand. And we do have Chris Gutsacker here with us today, running the AV equipment. So he's going to watch for any raised hands on the commuter. And I think Chris is going to be doing the roll call for us today. And we do have Mohammed in the room, and I understand that Margaret's connected with us virtually up in Minnesota. So hopefully her connectivity with us will stay firm and have a good meeting. All right, I think that's it with that. So we'll go ahead and call a roll call just to get this meeting going. So Chris, you want to start us off with that?
Thank you, Chair and members of the Transportation Safety Committee. As mentioned, please unmute when I call your name to indicate your presence. Carrie Wilcoxon from ADOT. Present. Shane Kiso, Apache Junction.
Here.
Raj Thowdam, City of Avondale.
Here.
John Willett, City of Buckeye.
Here.
Raymond Hong.
I'm here.
Thank you. Nick Russo, City of El Mirage.
Here.
Chris Salas, Town of Florence. Aaron Pinkerton, Town of Gilbert. Tony Abbo, City of Glendale.
Present.
Thank you. Matt Rieg, City of Goodyear.
Here.
Keith Dranowski, Litchfield Park.
Here.
Thank you. Mazen Radvich, Maricopa County.
Here. Present.
Thank you. Oh, I skipped Carrie Osborne, Maricopa. All right, we have proxy for Ryan Hudson from City of Mesa, Maria Angelica Deeb.
Present.
Thank you. Brendan Forey, Peoria.
Actually, this is Chris Lonka for Peoria. I'm here.
Hi, Chris. Thank you. Carl Langford, City of Phoenix.
Here.
Thank you. Tara Harmon, Pinal County.
Present.
Jen Martin, Town of Queen Creek.
Here.
Sam Taylor, City of Scottsdale.
Here.
Thank you. Danny Oceani, City of Surprise. Ellie Volleson, City of Tempe. Adrian Ruiz, Valley Metro.
This is Frank Sotil. I'm proxy for Adrian Ruiz for Valley Metro.
Thank you, Frank.
Uh-huh.
Robert Gray, ASU. Captain David Cates, DPS. And Alberto Gutierrez, GOES. Did I miss anyone who has joined online or that I skipped over?
Aaron Pinkerton, Town of Gilbert.
Thank you, Aaron. I think we're set. Thank you.
All right, sounds like we got the roll call here yet, so we'll move on to item number 2 on the agenda. Call to audience. This is the opportunity for the public to comment on items that fall under MEG's jurisdiction that are not on the agenda or that are on the agenda for discussion and not for action. 15 minutes will be provided for the call to the audience agenda item unless the committee requests an exception to this limit. Members of the public who are attending in person may deliver their comments from the lectern at the front of the room. You have up to 3 minutes to complete your comments. MEG staff will notify you when you have 1 minute remaining and when you are allotted time has expired. I have received 0 requests with speaking cards for this agenda item. Are there any members of the public here today who desire to speak on this item?
Mr. Chair, I have a comment.
Go ahead, Gary.
She's not a member of the public, really. She's a member of ADOT, but I wanted to introduce our active transportation coordinator, Elaine Mariol. She's here in the audience. And I do that. She used to work for Pima County. I introduce her at this point because I know there's typically a lot of Pima County jokes in this meeting, and I don't want anyone to, I don't want her to be offended.
All right, very good. Thank you, Gary. Nice to meet you. All right. Do we have any other, I think we said no written comments there, Mohammed?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we received no comments for this item or any other items from the public. Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to item 3, which is approval of the minutes. All right, I think we're on the right slide here in the room, the conference room here now. All right, approval of the minutes from the Transportation Safety Committee teleconference held on July 26, 2022. Does any member of Transportation Safety Committee have any comments or revisions of the July 26 meeting minutes that should have been passed out earlier with the agenda? All right, I'm not hearing any changes, revisions. Can I get a motion from somebody to recommend approval of the July 26, 22 minutes?
This is Nick from El Mirage. I move to approve last meeting's minutes.
And I second Maria Helga with the city manager.
Right, thank you for the approval and the second, Maria, for the July 26, 22 minutes. We'll go ahead and do the roll call. We have a few in the room, so I'll just ask Chris if we could just go through the roll call list, and those in favor say aye, those opposed say nay, and those if you need to abstain, please indicate so. Chris?
Thank you, Chair and members of the Transportation Safety Committee. Carrie Wilcoxon, ADOT. Shane Kiso,
Aye.
Raj Thadam,
Abstain.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Abstain.
Thank you. John Willett,
Aye.
Raymond Huang,
Aye.
Chris Salas, Aaron Pinkerton,
Aye.
Tony Abbo,
Aye.
Matt Reed,
Aye.
Keith Drenaski,
Aye.
Carrie Osborne, Mazen Muradovich,
Aye.
Chris Lumka,
Aye.
Carl Langford,
Aye.
Tara Harmon,
Aye.
Jen Martin,
Aye.
Sam Taylor, abstain. Dana Oceani, Ellie Volosson,
Abstain.
Frank Sotil,
Aye.
Robert Gray, Captain David Cates, Alberto Gutierrez. That completes the call for minutes.
Sounds like majority minutes passed, so we'll move on to item 4, which is program manager's report, usual item, but for the sake of our business here today, we're going to forego this unless Margaret online really has an inkling to give any type of report, but I don't think so. So we'll move on to item 5. All right, item 5. Fiscal year 25-26 Highway Safety Improvement Program. The Arizona Department of Transportation, ADOT, is responsible for programming Federal Highway Safety Improvement Program, HISIP, funding in the state. ADOT is currently accepting applications for fiscal years 25 and 26 and has allocated $24 million and $35 million respectively. MEG coordinates the call for projects for the MEG region, assists with the development of application, and submits the applications to ADOT on behalf of the member agencies. MEG staff will provide a brief overview of the fiscal year 2025 and 2026 program. MEG member agencies will be providing the opportunity to present their projects for information and discussion by the committee members here today. So I'll pass this over to, I believe Margaret's going to start us off with this.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the Transportation Safety Committee. Thank you for joining us on this in August. We typically have a break, but for item number 5, you can see that we coordinated a call for projects for HSIP with ADOT on March 3rd. We had a couple of deadlines that were pushed back, so the draft applications were due on May 31st. Today is our special meeting. Of course, we'll hear our presentations here in a few minutes. And this is going to be this action is going to be ahead of the ADOT deadline of August 31st to submit final applications. And as you can see here at the bottom, the total allocation from ADOT for HSIP for fiscal year 2025 is $24 million. And for fiscal year 2026 is $35 million. We have received 8 applications from 5 of our member agencies, and that includes Maricopa County. Attachment 1, as you see here on the screen, is shown here on the screen. And I do believe that Mohammed has some corrections. What's showing here on the screen is correct. However, what you might have in your agenda packet that was sent out last Thursday, I believe, is a little bit different for a couple numbers. So Mohammed, you want to outline some of those
Sure.
differences?
Yeah, Mr. Chair and member of the Transportation Safety Committee, as Margaret mentioned, like if you were using the one that was sent last week, then the numbers might differ a little bit compared to what you are seeing on the screen right now. We now have the revised one posted online on MAG webpage. So basically the first 2 projects, City of Chandler and City of Goodyear, if you look into the FY 2026 amount, so the City of Chandler amount basically just changed by $3. Previously it was $476 for the last 3 digits. Now it's $473. And for the City of Goodyear, the FY 2026 amount was previously $427,589, which now has changed to $427,859. So those were the 2 changes, and those basically changed the total amount for FY 2026 total requested, which is reflected here. So yes, those are the 2 changes we wanted to take a note of. Thank you.
Thank you, Mohammed. So that's for a total of $19,684,348 if you combine the fiscal year 25 and 26. So at this time, we're going to go ahead and move through our presentations unless there's any comments or questions regarding the information we've provided in background to this. All right, next slide, please. So first, the City of Chandler, we have Alyssa Dole. And she is attending virtually today, and she'll provide the committee a presentation on their project.
Morning. As Margaret said, I'm Melissa Dahl, and I'm the Signal Systems Engineer for the City of Chandler. First off, I would like to thank MAG for giving me the opportunity to present the city's request for the HSIP funding. The proposed project is located at the intersection of Dobson Road and Ray Road. Not only is this one of the city's busiest intersections with a daily traffic volume exceeding over 72,000 cars daily, but it has historically been one of the city's top intersections in terms of crash rates, crash severity, and total left turn crashes for the last 10 years. Dobson Road is currently 2 lanes in each direction with single left turn lanes and no medians. The proposed improvements on Dobson include installation of dual left turn lanes, protected left turn phasing, and raised medians. Ray Road currently is 3 lanes in each direction with dual left turns and no medians. The proposed improvements on Ray include installation of raised medians and protected left turn phasing. The addition of the dual left turns, lanes with protected left turn phasing, and raised medians on all approaches is expected to reduce the number of left turn crashes at the intersection, especially those that result in fatal and serious injuries. These improvements will also reduce overall congestion and the likelihood of rear-end crashes. The applicable crash reduction factors suggested that this intersection could see a 5-year reduction of 2.7 severe crashes, including 1.4 fatal and 1.3 serious injury crashes. The estimated total project cost is just under $12 million, of which just over $3 million is HSIP eligible, including roughly $200,000 of local match. With all this in mind, the benefit to cost ratio is 7.7 for this project. And that's it. Does anyone have any questions?
Any questions or comments there for Melissa?
Mr. Chair, Melissa, I had one question. Whenever I hear medians at an intersection, a busy intersection, I worry about pushback from the local businesses. I support medians. I think they're important, but a lot of times when we get into these projects, we found out later on that the businesses didn't realize the ramifications. Is this going to create any pushback from the local businesses where they're basically not going to be able to turn left out of any driveways? Or have you already run this by the property owners?
We have not reached out to the public and the property owners, but we have anticipated that and taken that into account that we'll have median breaks where appropriate so they can still get in and out of their businesses without issue.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I would just caution because medians are great, but a lot of times, like I said, in the 9th hour, you get complaints to the electeds that we're anti-business and the medians go away. But okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions for Melissa?
It looks like Maria has a question.
Go ahead, Maria.
Thank you. Yes, I just wanted to ask Chandler why installing the medians wasn't considered as a countermeasure. Those are CRF 4 medians and you only included 2, so you can actually combine those. I was wondering why it wasn't done and the request was for the construction cost also of medians.
We didn't have any crashes associated with not having a median there, so it wasn't included in the crash reduction factors.
Thank you.
All right, any other last question for Melissa?
This is Carl Langford of Phoenix. One question I had, you mentioned that the total project cost is about 12 million. Is the total project doing more than just the left turn lanes and the medians at this intersection?
Yes, we're going to install right turn lanes, and then we're actually going to repave the entire intersection. So that was a big cost. And then we only are asking for a certain amount for the HSIP. There were other funds that we probably could have asked for HSIP, but we chose to do local funding, and that'll be like the signal work and things like that. We kind of did a benefit cost analysis on what we felt was the best use of the funds for asking for HSIP versus what would be locally funded. Oh, and there's also, I my apologies. There's also utility relocation. We have 69 kV poles in there. So we have that is a big cost associated with this project, relocation of those. That we're not asking for HSIP funding.
Okay, I think I heard maybe one more other question out there.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Ellie Volson, City of Tempe, has her hand raised.
All right, go ahead, Ellie.
Thanks. So just a quick clarifying question, Alyssa. I'm looking at the Google map and it looks like Ray does have raised medians. Is that just an old picture? Or does this project not include Ray Road medians, just Dobson medians?
Well, it does have the raised medians, but we have to redo the medians.
Oh,
We're widening Ray Road.
That makes sense. And then just with the widening, is your current signal, can your current signal timing accommodate the pedestrian, the need for the extended pedestrian walk time, or do you have to increase your cycle length? Do you know?
We haven't figured that out yet,
Okay.
But we will take that into account most definitely.
Thanks.
All right, I think we're ready to move on. Appreciate it, Melissa. Thank you very much. All right, Margaret, do we have a next speaker identified?
Yes, we should have Matthew Grieg from the City of Goodyear attending virtually, providing this presentation.
Hello, Chairman and members of the committee. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to present this project to you today. This is City of Goodyear installation of lighting, signing, and striping and improvements at the intersection of Vineyard and 143rd Avenue. As you can see here, Vineyard is an east-west roadway that provides 2 lanes in each direction with wide paved shoulders. And then it turns to the south into 143rd Avenue, creating an L-shaped intersection there. This intersection is located approximately 3 miles east of Estrella Parkway, which is a main arterial roadway in the City of Goodyear that connects to I-10 several miles north of this location. A review of some crash history in the city revealed a few lane departure crashes in this area. So this specific improvement corresponds with the lane departure strategic traffic safety plan. So we had 1 fatal incident that occurred at night and 1 severe injury crash that occurred at dusk. And so one of our major improvements that we're requesting as part of this project is to install roadway lighting along the curve, as well as provide signing and marking enhancements. There have been some signing enhancements that were done previously several years ago, but we have not seen any, I guess, reduction in crashes at this time. So we want to further enhance the visibility as vehicles maneuver through this curve. One other note is, or a couple other notes. One is this is a popular route to Phoenix Raceway. So a lot of traffic travels this road to get to the events at Phoenix Raceway. And Maricopa County has a regional park located near the south, or just south and west of this intersection. We have begun talks with them to make sure that the lighting has minimal to no impact on the park, and expect to further our conversations with them as the project progresses. And so for this project, we're looking at about a little over $600,000 total ask, with a local match of a little over $35,000. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Matthew. Any questions out there from the committee?
Looks like we have a question from Chris Lemke.
Go ahead, Chris.
Good morning, Matt. Good morning, Chair. Just a question for Matt. This request is a fiscal year 26 request. So most likely it doesn't get constructed until, I don't know, 27, 28, maybe 26, but that's years out. Is the thought, my thought would be that maybe you need the signs and markings before that, and that this project could help with the lighting, and then this project could help reinforce what you're trying to do with the lighting. So what is your thoughts of going before this project for some of the signs and markings? Because you won't see it for a long time if you go through the HSIP route. So just some thoughts.
Yeah, thank you for your thoughts, Chris, Chairman and members of the committee. I think that's something that we did take into consideration. We have done some other minor recent signing upgrades, and just to try to enhance the signing a little bit prior to the installation of this project. But we do see that further enhancements could be made in those areas, and we want to tie the roadway lighting, which would be a significant upgrade to this intersection, and with those improvements. So that's kind of the thought on that. That's a good question, though.
Any other questions? Good. You got Carrie here. Go ahead, Carrie.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I echo Chris's comments in the previous. I mean, if there's any way you can get the signs out there early, chances are by the time this thing comes around, the signs will be knocked down anyway. But I mean, if there's any chance you can get the signs out there early, that would give you some low-cost countermeasures you can put out there right now. But my other question, though, was while there were, it looks like 2 nighttime or low visibility crashes, the rest of them are happening during the day. Has there been any thought given to, or is there any possibility to high friction surface treatment on this stretch of road?
There was some thought on that, yes. Our strategy was to take a look at providing enhanced striping and signing in lieu of that at this time. Rumble strips were also a consideration, but as far as what we felt would make a quick impact and reduction, we felt that the signing and marking improvements along with the roadway lighting were the 3 measures that we wanted to apply to this project. And since we were limited to 3, those were the 3 that we decided to move forward with, but definitely a consideration.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions out there by committee? All right, hearing none. Thank you very much, Matt, for that presentation.
Thank you.
Next, Mr. Chair, next we have Mazen Muradovich from the Maricopa County for the presentation, and they have 2 projects that he'll be presenting today. Mazen.
Thank you, Margaret, Mr. Chair, and member of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to allow us, Maricopa County DOT, to present and apply for HSIP funding. Our first project that we've applied was on all US 80, and we are requesting the application of high friction surface treatment. Now, this is an emerging application technology, if you will, that has been proven to reduce crashes and related severe injuries and fatality, and help motorists maintain better control in dry and wet driving condition. Now, this section of the road, we've did our data collection for the 5 years in question, placed in the criteria, and we have actually have come up with 28 total crashes, in which 4 were fatal and 1 were a serious crash. Our thoughts was to apply for high friction surface treatment, as Maricopa County has actually have applied this material and this application previously, again, through an HSIP funding on rural setting. We were very encouraged with the results that the application have yielded, and the condition of the application and the treatment and the surface treatment as we speak today. It has been done over 2 years, and we've been receiving a lot of good information, and then really lowering crash data, as well as maintaining the condition of the surface, and also have been collecting friction data on regular basis every 6 months, and the results of this were really very encouraging and relatively high level. We've been recently we got some information and data on it being in the high 80 and low 90, being the coefficient of friction, which is really very good numbers to have, as well as the surface itself is still intact and functioning well. So with that in mind, we have decided to go ahead and apply for funding for that section of the road at different locations due to the condition. Having looked at the BC ratio and yielding about 14:1 would actually show a good result, and looking forward for the application. If accepted, we would be also monitoring and then following up with the study after study on that. The second project that Maricopa County is undertaking is the application of passing lane, shoulder widening, and rumble strip, center line rumble strip on a section on Warrensburg Road between Van Buren to Siloam Highway. This section of the road have actually experienced a lot of crashes with 3 fatalities in the total of 6 altogether in the 5 years. We have noticed that there has been a lot of head-on collisions as well as runoff road that geared us to decide on applying those countermeasures, and a combination would give us combination of crash rate would actually reduction rates would actually give us a 6.7:1. This would be our first passing lane project as far as Maricopa County is concerned, but we feel that this kind of application could really yield a lot of good result and lowering crash rates and incidents on that section of the road. I'm ready for any questions if you guys have any. Thank you for your time.
So, Mr. Chair, if I may, I apologize. I meant to stop for questions after the first one. So, Mohammed, if you could go back one, and if anybody has questions on the first Maricopa County project.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I had a question. This is Sam Taylor with the City of Scottsdale.
Go ahead, Sam.
Mazen, how long is the length of the road that you're planning to apply the treatment to?
So on the old US 80 segments, we have several segments that we're proposing to apply the high friction surface treatment on, and most of it would be along curvatures and in curves. Horizontal curves are one of the highest number of crash locations that actually have showed statistically on that. And then, so there will be about a total of 4 locations that we will be applying the friction course on, with the consideration to the approaches to the curve on both ends.
Okay, thank you. Just to follow up, will it require any other pavement treatment before you apply the high friction?
That's a really very good question. A good surface treatment friction treatment would require to have a good base and a good existing pavement. The rule of the thumb on that particular application is to have a 30 days old surface. But if that's not the case, then you have to encounter any treatment to surface. And in this particular situation, we have actually mentioned in the application that Maricopa County will take care of any prep work and then that's going to need prior to the application of the friction course. Good question.
What is that friction surface treatment? Is it a type of chip seal or a fast?
Actually,
treatment?
yeah, no, that's a good question. Actually, it is a specialized material. It's a calcium bioxide aggregate. That's a special material that's actually available in the United States in different sources, but it's also imported from outside the United States. So it is available, but depending on the availability, it depends on how the contractor would choose to bring it in. So it's basically that material bonded together with some epoxy binder. And the application is really pretty fast turnaround. I mean, having the length of a certain amount of segment can be open to traffic in 2 hours. And then there is also the variation of the temperature. Once applied and completed in the surface, then that will be no longer a factor. So in other words, applying it in a weather like Phoenix wouldn't be an issue as long as you are preparing it the right way at the application, at the installation time.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for Wasim?
Mr. Chair, I thought I saw Chris Lemke had his hand up, but if he did not, Maria has a question.
Chris, did you have a question?
Chair, I did, but Sam asked the same question, so I'm good.
Okay, we'll give you partial credit for it. Maria, question?
Yes, I do. Your request is for 181,000 in fiscal year 25 and closely to 1.5 million in fiscal year 26. My question is, for this kind of surface treatment, are you going to undergo any special design, or why is mostly in fiscal year 25 and not before? Or is everything in 25 or 26?
So actually, yeah, that's a good question also. And yeah, we are proposing to do the design of the project actually prior to the construction. And as far as the allocation of the funding, I honestly would like to defer back to Margaret if you could help me out on that, on how that was actually put in place, please, Margaret, if you don't mind.
Sure. Actually, I may need to defer to Mohammed on this one. He's been doing a lot of legwork for me in getting this together in my absence. So if memory serves on this one, there was an amount that was 181,000 for design that was HSIP eligible. I'm just thinking about your application. I'm actually visualizing your application right now and seeing that there was an HSIP eligible amount for fiscal year 2025 for design in that amount. So if that is an error, or Mohammed, if you have any additional insight into this, we should probably make sure that that's correct for 2025.
Yes, thank you, Margaret, Mr. Chair, and Transportation Safety Committee. So the way these amounts are laid out here is for FY 2025, the 181,952 that you see, it's basically the amount that should be like the design total that was eligible for HSIP, and the $1.4 million that you see for FY 2026 should be the amount that is HSIP eligible for the construction total. But Margaret, as you mentioned, the FY 2025 amount, Chris, if you go back to our slide where we have the FY 2025 and 2026 allocation laid out, as you can see, the revised amount, the HSIP eligible amount for FY 2025 for Maricopa County's 181,952. So that is correct, as we can see here. And FY 2026 amount is 1.4 million for construction, which is HSIP eligible. Thank you.
Does that answer your question, Maria? And Mazen, I guess, do you have any comment?
No, that's all right. And yeah, in the estimate that we provided, it shows that 100% of 192,000, and which the HSIP portion was the 180. So that actually makes sense. Thank you for clarification.
Okay. And then I might add as well that we do have Larry Talley joining us today virtually, I believe. Yes, virtually. So if we have any questions as it relates to ADOT, he's available for answering questions as well. So
that is, if I may add just one more thing, that is actually a quick turnaround on both the design and also the construction. So that should be sufficiently enough time period allocated. I would say, and I have to say that one of the I guess one of the things that gave us a little bit of a hard time at the beginning, at the first project back in 2018, was the preparation of the special provision, which we did not have anything in hand available for the state of Arizona. So we had to piggyback on stuff like Caltrans and also Texas DOT, and they provided us with a lot of information on that. Now having that with us based on that first project, which was really a lessons learned in a very good way, we are able to by all means use that as a stepping stone, and then develop a little bit maybe more thorough specification. And so that would be the first challenge for the very first project of its kind. But I think we have a good handle on it right now. So thank you for that explanation.
All right, thank you, Mazen. Carrie, did you have one last comment?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair, and both Mazen and Maria for your comments. I don't want to undersell this. These are not rocket science to design, especially since you've done this already. So they're fairly easy to get a design going. You're not realigning the road or anything. You may or may not change some of the signs. They should be fairly easy. In fact, I would argue that this would be a project that'd be really, really good to move forward if we can, or bring forward. Do the design in 23, 24 if we have room, and then do the construction actually in 25. But they're not complicated projects. You really just need a can of paint that says start here and end here. And that's a joke, even though I didn't deliver it like that, but you need more than that. But
yeah, thank you, Kerry, for that comment. We certainly see no objection to moving forward if funding were available to us prior to 2025, and certainly can be handled whether in-house or through a consultant. And like you mentioned, it is pretty straightforward design.
All right, thank you, Mazen. I think we're ready to move forward.
I guess, were there any questions on the second project from members?
All right, any other
Okay.
last question? Nope, sounds like we're ready to move forward.
Okay, before we move forward, Mr. Chair, I just noticed something. Just take a quick pause. We have a member that's joining by phone with the last 3 digits of 8800. I would like to respectfully request that person identify themselves in case it's somebody that we haven't picked up in quorum.
Margaret, can you hear me?
Oh, it's
Larry
you, Chad.
Talley. I'm on.
Okay.
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, thank you, Larry. We can move on now. Thank you. So from the city of Phoenix, we have Reed Henry, and he is in person, I understand. And he has 3 projects to present to committee members.
All right, welcome.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you, Margaret, Mr. Chair, and committee members. As Margaret indicated, I have 3 applications for the 2025-26 HSIP funds. The first one that I have here is 43rd Avenue, Missouri. This is a multi-jurisdictional location with the city of Glendale. What the city of Phoenix did is we did a network screening of our entire network to identify locations with high fatal and serious injuries. And the information that we have here is actually from July 1, 2016 to June 30th of 2021, where we had angle and rear end crashes at this location. Our proposed improvement is to install a traffic signal at this location. It is a T intersection, and it should help with a lot of the movements coming eastbound from Glendale. The requested amount is $359,737 with a 0 match and a benefit cost ratio of 3.0 to 1. Is there any questions?
Go ahead, Carrie.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Reed. This, I'm assuming, is warranted, the signal?
Yes.
Okay. And is there any reason why you would wait the 5 years to get it in? I mean, is it, I know you have a process to go through. Is it, does it just not rank highly on the warrant?
Yeah, I think it's the ranking issue that we have.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yep.
And Reed Sheen here. Quick question. Is it currently a 3-way stop or just?
Just a 2-way, or it's just a stop for eastbound traffic.
Okay.
It's an offset intersection. The east leg is about, I think, 150 feet to the north.
All right. Any other questions for Reed before he moves on to the next one?
Sorry, this is Sam with the city of Scottsdale. Yeah, I just had a question. 959,000 seems a little high for a traffic signal. Does that include anything else besides just include like constructing the new poles?
It does seem high. We've had a couple recent bids that came in that were significantly higher than what we're used to. So we are actually anticipating that they're continuing to be high. So yeah, the dollar amount is higher than we would hope.
All right. Thank you. Any last question for Reed before he moves on to the next one?
Yeah, this is Tony. I just want to, support the city as far as that cost go. We've had some recent projects that have come way above what we thought. We did a signal, I think, about a year ago or a year and a half ago, and I was surprised that it was a smaller signal in the north part of town, or the north part of Glendale, and that came in surprisingly at almost 600,000. So, considering when this funding is being requested, I don't think that's high at all. The prices have skyrocketed as of late. So, just thought I'd throw my 2 cents in.
All right.
I shudder to think what a trombone style signal is going for these days.
I have a question. This is Rochester from City of Avondale. I know you guys planning to install the signal for the west leg for the Missouri Avenue. Have you guys looked into the east leg of the Missouri Avenue at that location? The one 230 feet north of this location. Are there any accidents over there?
Not of the severity that we had at this location. I believe it was looked at in the past for some improvements, but it didn't meet traffic warrants for a signal. And I think they're significantly far enough apart that I don't anticipate an issue.
Thank you.
All right. I think we'll have Reed continue the next one if there's any final question on that.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chair. The next application I have is for 43rd Avenue and Thunderbird Road. We're looking at modifying this location with additional traffic signal heads for each approach, and also incorporating the flashing yellow arrowheads and technology. Again, with our traffic signals, our current standard is to have dual luminaires on each corner. So I think that's going to be a good help for the pedestrians that we have in this area, and at least several of them at this location were pedestrian related. As you can see, we had 10 crashes that will be addressed. 4 were fatal and 6 were serious injury. The requested amount is just over $1 million with a benefit cost of 11.9 to 1.
It looks like Chris Lemke has a question.
Go ahead,
Thank you,
Chris.
Margaret and Chair and Reed. So I do have a question on this cost estimate. I fully support a brand new signal that costs about $1 million, but this wasn't $1 million for flashing out arrows, maybe some rewiring, a new cabinet. So this one I'm struggling a little bit with the cost. Can you explain what $1 million gets us for this project?
Yeah, the issue that we have is we have some old designs out there. It's I don't know if you're familiar with them. They're fairly small poles with mast arms that have the 2 struts that come down and hold the mast arm. So it is our opinion that we cannot implement the additional heads and the flashing yellow heads on the existing equipment that's out there.
So this is a reconstruction of the entire intersection with all new poles, mast arms, and heads. Is that
Yes,
the
that's
application? Okay.
that's what it would take to implement the proposed safety measures.
Thank you for the clarification. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, any last questions on this project? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to the next one.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, this Maria on the one before.
Go ahead.
Have you looked at the existing lighting conditions? Is there any problem due to that at the same time you're improving that intersection, you look at the lighting provided in that location?
Yeah, our current standard now is to put 2 luminaires on each corner, which I think will significantly improve the lighting at this location.
All right, I'm ready to move on to the next project.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. Basically, this location has multiple locations actually for this application. We have a location at Cave Creek Road and Greenway Parkway, another one at 7th Street and McDowell, and the third location is Jesse Owens and Baseline Road. When we total the number of fatal and serious crashes at this location, we had 19 with 11 fatal and 8 serious injury. Again, these improvements here would be for the reconstruction of the traffic signals to accommodate traffic signal heads per lane and also installing the flashing yellow arrow. What we have here is a request for 2.9 million with a benefit cost ratio of 9.1 to 1.
All right, any questions for Reed on this project? And Reed, just my question, reconstruction, is there some ADA improvements happening, or are you guys pretty much up to speed?
We anticipate to, with the pole movements, we're going to have some distances issues, so we'll probably be redoing the curb ramps at those locations.
Okay. Any last question for this project? All right, hearing none, I believe that was last one for Phoenix.
All right, thank
Yes,
you for.
Mr.
All right, thank you, Reed.
So, Mr. Chair, last but certainly not least, we have the City of Scottsdale. We have Sam Taylor in person to provide the presentation on their project application.
Very good. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Margaret, Mr. Chair, members of the Safety Committee. We appreciate the opportunity to present this project to you guys today. So this project is on Legacy Boulevard between 94th Street and 98th Street in North Scottsdale. The project is to construct a new bridge on the south side of Legacy Boulevard over the existing wash and then restripe to add bike lanes on both sides. This will complete the 4-lane cross section of Legacy Boulevard in this area. In 2021, there was a fatal collision where a vehicle that was attempting to negotiate the curve coming out of the existing 2-lane bridge departed their lane and struck 2 bicyclists in the painted shoulder area just east of the bridge. This project will address the ADOT Strategic Transportation Safety Plan emphasis area of lane departure crashes by converting this 2-lane undivided cross section to 4-lane divided cross section, and also eliminating the horizontal curvature of the road where it narrows to this 2-lane cross section. The project also has a potential to prevent any future head-on crashes in this area. The cost estimate came out to be around $6,237,000 with a local match of around $377,000. Using a CMF for conversion of a 2-lane undivided road to 4-lane divided road for all crash types and all area types, we got a benefit cost ratio of 2.6 to 1. That is all I have.
I'll open it up for any questions for Sam. All right, Sam, looks like you got it easy at the end.
Sorry, this is Maria.
Maria?
Can you please explain the state match versus local match? Do you have the state contributing to this?
I'm sorry, I think that was meant to be local match on the slide. Yeah, so that's the, I think it's 5.7% of a local match. I think that's just an error on the slide.
Thank you. Any other questions for Sam? All right, hearing none, I think that finishes us up. Margaret, is that correct?
I believe so. We can move on to the next slide, Chris. I guess at this time, if there's any other further discussion, or if there's questions or comments from ADOT.
Go ahead, Carrie.
Thank you, Madam Chair, or excuse me, Mr. Chair and Margaret, who is a madam for those of you who can't see her. Not in the bad way, but okay. So I like all these projects. They're all good. I'm kind of frustrated, as I know everyone else on the phone is, of identifying a project this far out, and that's a safety project, and having to wait 5 years with public at risk. So one of the things that we're going to be working on, and this is the same with all HSIP projects, but one of the things we're going to be working on over the next year, hopefully sooner than that, will be trying to figure out a way to more actively manage these projects, bring the ones that can move forward, so that we can build them earlier, and also try and make sure that we are appropriately scoping and budgeting them. So we don't have anything concrete right now to work on or to talk to you about, but that is something that we are trying to address at the top levels of ADOT. So it is something that is a concern all the way up to our chairman, or all the way up to our director. But these are all good projects. They all seem like good projects. I just would like to try and figure out a way to move them forward sooner.
Thank you, Carrie, for that.
May I ask a question to Carrie, please?
Is that Tony?
Yeah, it's Tony Abbo.
Mr. Chair, is that allowed? I thought we didn't allow that anymore.
I'll allow it here, Tony. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. So the question I have for you, Carrie, when you're moving these projects forward, are you saying that there is funding available to move these projects forward?
What I'm saying is that I'm not saying there is funding available. What I'm saying is that we're trying to figure out how to get as many projects built as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
So that may mean that we move some projects out to bring some projects in.
Okay.
And everyone on the phone knows the process, especially for getting local projects to the design stage, is it's necessarily convoluted. If I can use those two words in the same sentence, but it doesn't necessarily have to be done when we do it. In other words, one of the things we're looking at is once projects are approved, and I don't know if these projects will be approved, but once they are approved, we immediately move forward with the initiation package. And then whenever we can move these projects, we won't have to wait 3 to 4 months to get the initiation package kicked off. It doesn't mean that the project will automatically get moved, but if an opportunity comes up to move it, especially towards the end of the fiscal year, having the initiation packet for a good project already taken care of gets us one step closer to being able to initiate that project sooner. So we don't have any details right now, but those are some of the things we're looking at to try and move these projects forward.
Okay, thank you, Carrie, and thank you, Mr. Chairman.
It looks like Maria had a question for Carrie or Larry.
No, I just wanted to say I have here the application for Scottsdale, and the cost estimate they submitted does say state match. So I wonder if somebody at MAC could help them and correct anything that needs to be corrected in the cost estimate. Thank you.
Mohammed?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, member of the Transportation Safety Committee. Thank you, Maria, for your concerns. So I think, yeah, there's some clarification that may need to be made in terms of state match and the local match. If I was just thinking, like, if Larry Tully or Kerry from ADOT can clarify a little bit on the state match and local match portion and the cost estimation, how that should be done in terms of, coming up with the final cost for the local agencies.
Mr. Chair, Mohammed, I'll defer to Larry on this one.
Mr. Chair, Larry Callie. I suspect what happened on that was some of the tabs, cost estimates, have state in it, some have local. So depending on which tab the City of Scottsdale used to submit their, fill in with their cost estimate, it may say state at the top. And that should be changed to local if a local is submitting it. So that is, odds are, and that happens not very frequently, but it does happen occasionally.
So to that note, Larry, I think, and Mohammed, what we need to do between now and August 31st is make sure and go through that all of those that say state match, we do have clarified for local match and vice versa. So we'll make sure that all this is correct before we send them to ADOT on the 31st.
Sure. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. Any last discussion, thoughts, comments before I think Margaret will give us a little bit of timeline, what next steps, and we do have action on this item and we will come back to that.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the Transportation Safety Committee. So as you can see, our action today will basically move the applications forward to be submitted to ADOT on the August 31st deadline. And Larry, please correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, but we are anticipating the HSIP, the ADOT HSIP Safety Committee approval in October. For those of you on the committee that aren't aware, that that committee is comprised of my counterparts at COGS and MPOs. We meet and we review all of the applications, or I'm sorry, all of the projects that were submitted statewide. And that's the HSIP Safety Committee approval. Based on that, once the list of projects is approved by ADOT, we need to come back through the MAG committee process, which will start in November with the Safety Committee for recommending funding and eventually adding to the MAG tip, which is a requirement. So in addition, we are in the understanding that letters of eligibility should all be sent out by the end of December 30th of 2022. And as I mentioned before, the MAG Policy Committee schedule will be set for the tip amendment in January based on this schedule. So Larry, do I have all that right?
That looks good, yes.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Chair.
All right, any last just questions on that timeline for Margaret? All right, on the presentation there, we have the action here before the committee. So if I do have a motion.
Just a second, I want to change that action to recommend approval for all 8 projects to move forward to be submitted to ADOT, with a caveat that the cost estimate will be revised to identify the proper matched source of funding.
Amendment sounds good, Maria. Do you want to make that as a motion?
I motion that for approval.
Do I hear a second?
This is Ellie from Tempe. I second.
Thank you, Ellie. So we have a primary, secondary. So we'll go ahead and do a roll call. And I think we'll do that off of a list. If Chris could do that for us.
Thank you, Chair and members of the Transportation Safety Committee. When I call your name, please indicate your vote. Carrie Wilcoxon, ADOT.
Abstain.
Shane Kiso.
Aye.
Raj Thadam, Avondale.
Aye.
John Willett, Buckeye.
Aye.
Raymond Huang, Chandler.
Aye.
Nick Russo, Almiraj.
Aye.
Chris Salas, Florence. Aaron Pinkerton, Gilbert.
Aye.
Tony Abba, Glendale.
Aye.
Matt Reed, Goodyear.
Aye.
Keith Dranaski, Litchfield Park.
Aye.
Carrie Osborne, Maricopa. Mazen Muradovich, Maricopa County.
Aye.
Chris Lemke, Peoria.
Aye.
Carl Langford, Phoenix.
Aye.
Tara Harmon, Dow County.
Aye.
Jan Martin, Queen Creek.
Aye.
Sam Taylor, Scottsdale.
Aye.
Ellie Volleson, Tempe.
Aye.
Dana Oceani, Surprise. Frank Sotil, Valley Metro.
Aye.
Robert Gray, ASU. Captain David Cates, DPS. Alberto Gutierrez, goes.
All right. With that motion and the second, it looks like the vote that does pass. So I just want to say thank you for all the presenters. We had good discussion on that today. So committee members, thank you as well for those questions. Any last thought or discussion on that item before we move on? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to item 6 on the agenda, which should be the reports by committee members. I would like to invite any member of the Transportation Safety Committee to report on any ongoing safety or related project activities in their jurisdiction. We'll begin with those here in person in the room, and then we'll go to Chris with the roll sheet for those people virtually. So on this end, we'll start anything with Sam with City of Scottsdale.
We are beginning to do some internal road safety assessments throughout the city. We'll hope to be finishing those up by the end of the year. But other than that, I don't have anything else to report.
Mazen with Dot.
Maricopa County is undertaking the task of developing crash rates for Maricopa County DOT classified roadway segments, and we are moving forward with this task to try to come something up by the next fiscal year. Thank you.
Thank you, you. Shane with the City of AJ, no report today. Carrie, anything more with ADOT?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. We have a couple of items to report. For those of you on the phone and here in person, I did introduce our active transportation coordinator, Elaine. She just started with us yesterday, so she'll be getting up to speed with all things ADOT before too long. And thank you for not making any hurtful jokes about Pima County. So, also, as of probably by the end of this week, we will be releasing the Arizona crash facts for 2021. We had trouble with this year's data for a lot of reasons, not least of which is our staffing. But we are at the point where we are about to release the Arizona crash facts. There were 1,180 fatalities last year, and of those, looks like 257 were pedestrians. So we've got a lot of work to do as a committee. And then the two group RSAs that we had planned earlier this year, the pedestrian and bicycle RSA, group RSAs along state highway system, and the lane departure RSAs, group RSAs along state highway system. Those have, we've selected consultants for those, and they will be moving forward sometime in the fall of this year. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I may, actually, I thought Kerry might have some information on this in his report. If he doesn't, that's fine. But is there any update on a potential second call for HSIP that would include those non-infrastructure funds from the IIJA?
That, Mr. Chair, Margaret, that's a good question. That is something that is our intent. We don't know where we are going to be right now. We're trying to get rid of, we're trying to clean up some other issues with HSIP right now that are not related to really the staffing or the projects. But that is one of the intents later this year to begin the process with the idea that we might be able to have some kind of mini call for projects either late this year or early next for non-infrastructure projects. For those of you who follow the IIJA, HSIP up until this point, well, not up until, but recently, HSIP was only eligible to fund infrastructure projects. And thanks to the passage of the IIJA, we have both additional money for the HSIP program, and we have the ability to use it for enforcement and education. What we don't have right now is a program to either compete for those funds or to rank those funds or the projects that we get in during the competition. So that's going to be something we are also working on in the coming months. But thank you for reminding me of that.
All right, I think that concludes the reports in the room. So I'll ask Chris for those left virtually.
Thank you, Chair and members of the committee. Please unmute to let us know if you have any updates. Raj Thoughtam, Avondale.
No, I do not have. Sorry.
John Willett, Buckeye.
This is John. Yeah, the only thing to report this morning is the Miller Road TI on I-10 is officially open. So now there is another DDI in the Phoenix metro area. But if you're still driving out west, there is still a long backup on I-10. So just be aware of that when you come out here. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. Raymond Huang, Chandler.
Nothing to report.
Thank you. Nick Russo, El Mirage.
No report at this time. Thank you.
Thanks. Chris Salas, Florence. Aaron Pinkerton, Gilbert.
Nothing to add at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. Tony Ebo, Glendale.
Nothing to add at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Matt Reed, Goodyear.
Nothing at this time.
Thank you. Keith Janaski, Litchfield Park.
Nothing to add at this time. Sorry.
Thanks, Keith. Carrie Osborne, Maricopa. Maria Angelica Deeb.
Nothing to report. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Chris Lemke, Peoria.
Nothing to report. Thanks.
Thanks, Chris. Carl Langford, Phoenix.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. From Phoenix, we would like to report that our road safety action plan is wrapping up conclusion. We will be taking it on the beginning of next month to City Council for approval. Several of you hopefully submitted some of our survey information, so we appreciate any and all of that information that we've received. It should be a very good plan that comes out, and we're looking forward to it very much so. In that regard, one of the items we have kind of moved it up in our priority list, so it was initially probably in part of October to be completed. And that's so that we can submit for a SS4A grant through the federal government. It's the new Safe Streets for All grant funding and availability aspect. And with our road safety action plan, we will become eligible for that grant, and hoping that we can get very significant grant opportunity with that. So that's all we have to report at this time.
Thank you, Carl. Tara Harmon, Pinal County.
Nothing to report today. Thank you.
Thank you. Jen Martin, Quinn Creek.
Nothing to update at this time.
Thank you. Dana Oceani, Surprise. Ellie Volleson, Tempe.
Thank you. The only thing to report is that we recently undertook a near miss analysis along Baseline Road using Street Simplified as our vendor. And we've just received back some information on those on that near miss information that we hope to use in our SS4A grant, on our SS4A grant request. And we would be happy to talk to anybody about that experience if you're interested.
Thank you, Ellie. Frank Sotil, Raleigh Metro.
Nothing to report today. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Robert Gray. Captain David Cates. And Alberto Gutierrez.
All right, I think that completes reports. Thank you, Chris, for walking us through, and thank you for everybody with those reports. So we'll move on to the next item. Should be the request for future agenda items. So this is for any committee members that may have an item on the top of their head right now that they want to communicate for future topics. So if there's any future topics, please state that now.
Mr. Chair, this is Kerry. I had two potential future topics. One is we'd like to go ahead and present the results of the 2021 crash data finalization sometime in the near future. And we'd like to do that every year, but I mean, we'll try and do it at a meeting in the fall. And then we are also starting to look at equity in our HSIP projects. Doesn't have any scoring associated with it at this point, but we've started the first effort in looking at how equitable the projects themselves are and how equitable the funding allocation is to our HSIP projects. So at some point in the future, we'd like to have we'd offer a presentation on that to talk to the members of the group. Like I said, there are no plans at this point to make that part of the HSIP application, but we are taking HSIP applications and determining how equitable they are based on various factors.
So, Mr. Chair, if I may, Carrie, thank you for that. I've duly noted the two items that you have suggested. On the first one, I do believe that I have you on the September agenda, but I will coordinate that with you closely. It will also be side by side with kind of the same thing from MAG, provided that we don't have any problems uploading the data at the end of this week from ADOT. So again, happy Data New Year to everybody.
All right, thank you. Any other immediate items out there by committee members?
Mr. Chair, this is Santerre with City of Scottsdale. Just one quick question for Margaret and Mohammed, maybe. If the 2021 crash data is going to be published, is that going to change the 5 years of crash data window that we're going to be using for the roadway safety program applications?
That's a really good question. Again, it kind of depends on when it's released by ADOT, and number two, if we have any issues getting it into the RT Sims database. I don't anticipate any, but we will make sure that as far as the RSP is concerned, if if we have extra data, or not extra data, but if we have more recent data, as in 2021, we will work with you to get that into your application. You still have a few weeks now for submitting your RSP application. So we'll definitely work with you, but we'll keep monitoring what happens with getting that data in our system and being available to you.
Thank you.
All right, Carrie on this end has something to add?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. And Margaret, I appreciate that. And hopefully there will be no problems downloading the data. I just want to caution everyone, though, when looking at the 2021 data, it is the road users or the road crash patterns are a bit different than we would have expected as a result of the pandemic. So I'm not suggesting that you shouldn't look at it or you shouldn't consider it. I would just say take it with a grain of salt. The data may show you areas that aren't going to be a problem long term, or it may show you data on areas that will now going forward be a problem of concern. So the last 2 years were just such weird years as far as crash data that you may want to just look long and hard at the data before moving forward on that. That's all I have to say about that.
Okay, last call for any other items, discussion. All right, if not, just a reminder too, if you have any items, that you think of beyond this meeting, feel free to email Margaret or myself to get that consideration for future meetings. All right, we'll move on to the next item, and that is next meeting date and place. Next meeting of the Transportation Safety Committee will be a special meeting held at 10 a.m. on Tuesday, September 27th. 2022. Attendance in person is encouraged in the MEG second floor Ironwood room here. Virtual options will be available.
Just a quick correction, and my apologies, Mr. Chair, but it is a regular meeting and not a special meeting.
All right.
Just to make that clear, it's one of our regularly scheduled meetings.
Today was to be the special meeting, correct? Okay. We're all special. Thank you, Margaret, for that clarification. So we'll go ahead and adjourn, and thank you for everybody for your time today and presentations, as I mentioned earlier. So we'll go ahead and adjourn at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you and goodbye.
Bye.